What up, ballers? Is it possible to obtain an 850 credit score? Well, you better stay tuned because we're giving you all the secrets so that you can obtain a perfect 850 credit score.
It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.
Welcome back. All right, guys, we are back to getting back. No, not getting back, getting down to business.
Get down.
Hey, I'm ready to get into this stuff, man. It's been like, a week? And we're ready to talk about a 850 credit score. Now, is that even possible?
Is it possible?
I don't know. You tell me. Give me the deets.
Well, it is possible. It is possible.
Okay.
However, there's only roughly about 21% of the population who even have, 800 or more. So it's definitely obtainable. And so we want to talk to the people and say, what do you need to do? Just like, let's shoot for the stars, right?
So you're saying there's 21% of the population that has a 800 or better.
800 or better.
But so how do we get to 850?
The perfect.
The
Shooting for
perfect
the-
score. Yeah. Like,
Shooting for the stars.
I want to be balling. I want to, I want to floss. And I got an 850 credit score. I could do anything.
But you do know you got to pay that back, right?
I understand, but I'm just saying, though. I could do anything.
Just so long, we want to just make sure the people know that you got to pay it back.
Yeah.
So you can have the 850, but got to pay it back. But so secret sauce, number one, we all need to understand the credit mix, So you need to understand what your profile needs in order to be able to have that 850 credit score. So that looks like credit cards, of course. You need anywhere from like 4 to 6 credit cards. And so that's that revolving line of credit. And then you need to have at minimum, one mortgage or installment loan. It could be an auto loan.
Mm-hmm.
You can have that. And then this is the part that I feel like that people miss out. Credit and building your credit, it's about time. It's not a quick fix, so that's why it's so important to just have the education and the diligence and the patience to just really just sit with your credit and understand it. You can have these credit mixes, but then you have time. Like most of these people who have these perfect scores at 850 or 800 and better, they've been doing this for a really long time. Like we're talking about 25, 30 years plus.
Wow. That's a long time.
It is.
So with that type of time frame, that's why it makes sense. Okay, I know it's like 21% that's 800 or more, but it's like 1% that have the 850 credit score.
That's true.
Because you got to have 30 years of credit, 30 years of credit age. And they're talking 4 to 6 credit cards. And you got to be perfect. And you have to have nothing, no like delinquencies, nothing. I mean,
no public records, can't be evicted, y'all.
You cannot do anything wrong. Okay, you got to be el perfecto, for real.
And as well, like credit utilization, right? So these people, so the individuals who do have these credit cards, they got 4 to 6 credit cards, but they're not maxed out.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
So they're hovering anywhere in that like 20, 30% or less range, right? So we have to be careful.
I think it's more like 10%, to be honest. Or
even 10%.
Because I think that the 20, 30% these days, it's not going to cut it. I feel like you got to be like 10% or less utilization to really, get that 850 credit score.
Mm-hmm. So is it necessary though for anybody to like really be shooting for the 850? I mean, like I mean, that's great. Like if you walked into a place and like, you want to buy a brand new car and they're like, "Ooh, all right, 850." Like, is that deal going to be any better than the 800? Like, I mean,
No,
800 is pretty good.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I feel like if you shoot for the high 700s and if
Hmm.
you're touching 800, you're golden. I mean,
Yeah.
from what I've seen, I think it's like a 770
Hmm.
or better is like the excellent range. And I
Hmm.
think that's what you shoot for.
Yeah,
Just getting into the 700 club is going to change your life and interest.
for sure. For sure.
It's a big difference between the 700 credit range and the 600s. Trust me,
Hmm.
huge difference. In
Yep.
the 600s, you can still be paying like 18, 19% for a car loan.
Right.
Even like
Which is crazy.
if you're at the bottom 600s, you could pay 24%. And that's crazy. But when you get to the 700s, now you could talk about paying 3%,
Hmm.
2%, sometimes 0% when they got specials going on. Not right now because all the interest rate hikes, but
Right.
like during, a couple years ago, you could get crazy interest rates. So I think that's a big thing that we have to understand. You could shoot for the 850, but understand what it comes with. Like what do you need to do to actually get to 850? So
Hmm.
it's better for you to just work to get to the high 700s. And if you touch 800, man, throw a party, you know.
Yeah, because time is something that we can't rush, right?
Hmm.
So it's like you can't rush it. So if you're doing everything in your power, you're doing everything right, then the only thing that is working against you is time. You really don't have anything to really fight for, fight against, right? You can't rush the time. So you can be satisfied, get great rates, and still, be in the high 700s, reaching for the 800. So, you know,
Yeah.
you're still in a good spot. So I really feel like the trick to a lot of this, is just education. One, educating yourself regarding the credit mixes and making the right decisions, but it's also understanding and just keeping your spending under control and not spending more than what you can afford. Responsibility is going to be like super critical and really key, and really understanding that, even if I get, I don't know, I'm just going to say something astronomical, like $100,000, but you are only a $50,000 earner,
Right,
per
right.
year. It's like, you got to be careful, right? As to like how you're spending, because you don't want to be in a situation where you can't pay those funds back.
Exactly. And then you got to understand how to deal with credit. You're not, I always say you should always use your credit cards. But does that mean use it so you keep a balance? No. Because when you keep a balance, now you're paying interest. The
Hmm.
best way to you could turn any credit card, you could have a credit card that's charging you 29% interest, right? But you could turn that credit card to 0% interest because you're paying it off before the statement date. And that's
Hmm.
big because when you do that, now it's also reporting to the credit report agencies, right? Is reporting as zero or a very low balance. And
Hmm.
that's what keeps you, with the good credit rating and builds your profile properly. Now, a
Right.
lot of people they don't know how to be responsible with credit. You have
Hmm.
to be responsible with credit. We always
Yep.
tell you, we don't use debit cards, right?
Hmm.
Now, if we were in a situation where all our credit cards were maxed, then we would use our debit cards more often, and the payments that we make towards our credit cards would be higher so we could pay them down. We're
Right.
not telling you use your credit cards to the max and just carry a balance. Just understand that. There's different tiers. Like when you're trying to repair your credit or you're trying to get a higher, credit score, you need to just, if you got a high balance, pay it down.
Yeah.
If you don't have a balance, then use that credit card all the time so you can get all those nice, uh, um, you know, rebate, not rebates. You know what I'm talking about.
Rewards. Yeah.
Rewards, yeah. Yes,
Yes.
get all those nice rewards, cash back, and all that stuff. Because then now you could use that cash back to go towards whatever you want. Because you'll be surprised how you can rack up some cash back. I've seen Kiosha do some amazing stuff with some cash back.
Hey.
Serious. I wish I could just bring one of the things over here, that she was able to purchase. But anyway, seriously, use your credit cards. If you have a zero balance, then you could go ahead and just rack it up, pay it off immediately, rinse and repeat, and you're good.
Yep. And if you're using your card wisely, right? And so I talk to a lot of the people that I work with, like use it for stuff that you know that you have to pay anyway, right? You know you
Hmm.
have to pay your credit card. I mean, I'm sorry, your phone bill, and you know you're gonna have to pay utilities or whatever that is. You are gonna pay that anyway with your hard-earned cash. Put it on your credit card, turn around, and then pay your credit card off. And so now you just like rinse and repeat. And that's actually, what we're going to get into today as to, what you need to do.
Yeah, give it to me.
So, so I think now this is like super important. You have to check your credit score often.
You do.
And you need to have a monitoring service that is greater than just simply what they provide you on your credit card. Like you need to have a real monitoring service,
Yeah.
and you need to have and even just at minimum, if you just checked it with just your free annual one that you get.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think that's enough just because, like you want to be alerted if someone's using your name or if there's a new account that's been opened in your name. So that's what a monitoring service does. And so people, unfortunately, sometimes don't see the value in that. But with identity theft on the rise, with you just like so much happening in the world, I need to have that monitoring service. So you got to check your credit scores.
You got to. And if you want to do the free service, like Kiosha said, that's not enough. It's really not enough because you're checking it once a year. Man, things could happen in 1 week. Then you want to wait a whole year to find out
Right.
when it's too late? No. So whatever credit monitoring service you end up getting, just make sure it gives you your FICO scores, and it at least gives you a report, a refresh of a report every month.
Mhm.
And then it also gives you alerts during the month of anything jumping on your credit. So if you're interested in something like that, you just go into the description. We have one that's available. But like I said, no matter what, I gave you the breakdown on what you need to look for. Something that's at least once a month, giving you a full report and giving you alerts during the month. And FICO scores, please. FICO,
For sure.
not Vantage scores, okay? Don't do it.
And if you're really looking to increase your credit score or change some things, so having that monitoring service is critical. But then once you get it, what you need to be looking for is correcting any typos in your name,
Mm-hmm.
any errors that you see in like your addresses, because this is a report literally of like the last 7 to 10 years of your life, right? And so we all move, things happen, life happens. And so there's going to be some inaccuracies on your credit file, right? And so what we've learned is about nearly 80% of individuals' credit reporting files have some sort of errors on there.
That's a
You want to
lot.
make sure that's a lot. That's huge. And that could be impacting you in a way that you'd never thought possible, right? And so you want to make sure if you paid an account off and now that account is supposed to be closed, that it is actually reporting that it's been closed, right? That the credit cards that you do have, do they have the correct credit line and amount? Like, so if you have $1,000, is it reporting that it's $500, right? You
Right.
want to be able to make sure that everything that's being reported about you is actually accurate.
I agree 100%. I see it all the time. Things on your credit. I mean, they have my name all crazy on there. Why is that?
Mhm.
Never use that. Is that identity theft? What's going on? I need that off.
Mhm. And making sure, like, sometimes I sign my name with a middle initial, sometimes I don't, like all of those different things. But like especially individuals who you share your name with a parent, like you want to make
Oh
sure
my God.
that
That's
like
called a credit merge, by the way. That's when you merge credit with somebody, like she said, shares the same name. Like you're a junior. Well, a lot of times that junior doesn't show up. It's just the
Mhm.
name and the social, and then they merge the accounts. And then if your dad did something wrong, it pops up on your account. And then you're like,
Mhm.
whoa, or in your credit. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute, I never did this. Or I never worked there before. Things
Right.
like that.
Or I never lived there, like so it's really important to have that monitoring service in place. And then it just comes down to like we got to change some behaviors, right? Like we
Yeah.
have to just completely, when we're looking to maintain or establish our credit, we just simply have to look at it differently. And so in my budgeting courses, I talk to people all the time, we cannot be late with payments. Mario can tell you, I am a stickler. Like, I want to pay on the day. Like, even my little
Yeah.
grace period times, I'm like, you know what? I only want to have to use that if there's just a situation where there's a timing issue with, some monies that's supposed to be coming in. But like, as a rule of thumb, I'm paying on time because I've been and I've lived that life where you're living on the edge and you're like, oh my God, is somebody gonna come knocking on my door? Am I gonna walk outside? I got something posted on my door. Like, I don't like living like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we have to change behavior. So it's always, for me, it's about discipline. I'm gonna pay what I owe to whom I owe it to, and I'm going to live peaceably. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying. I just wanted to live life peaceably. Let me give you your money. I use this service or I use this particular item. Let me give you your funds. Good. Boom. I'll see you again next month. Right. So we got to change our ways. We have to make our payments on time. And then if there's, if you begin to create those habits, over time, your credit is just going to simply improve because you're doing what you were supposed to do. You're doing things upright, and you're not robbing Peter to pay Paul. And I'm not saying if you're in that situation right now, because honey, believe it, I've been there, done that, right? So I know that feeling. But when you can do better, right?
Yeah. And it's back on that paying bills on time. Just throw your credit cards on auto pay for the
Mm-hmm.
minimum. That's it.
Yep.
And if you pay a larger amount, that's fine. You could change that. But at the bare minimum, so you don't forget, because we forget. Sometimes things happen. Like, say you have an emergency and you go in the hospital and you're in the hospital for some weeks and you miss the time when you're supposed to pay your bill. What
Mm-hmm.
happens? So you come
Right.
out of the hospital with bad credit? That's not cool. Believe me,
Yeah.
it's a real thing.
And something else to think about too is like, and the reason why I push having a budget and having a budget that you can see where you understand who do I need to pay, how much do I need to pay them, and on what date do I need to pay them, and then what's the cadence at which I get paid, right? Because there's opportunity for you to move some payment due dates around. I know I had been in a situation in years ago where I was just like, man, it just seems like, come the first of the month, like I have nothing, and I'm like struggling. Then later part of the month, mid part of the month, I'm doing okay. But that's because my bills were all on the wrong dates, right? So you
Right.
have to take time to like see this and understand how you get paid and then move due dates around. You can call them up, just give them a quick call. Hey, I need this payment due date to be, instead of here, I need it to be here. And I know that like a lot of car insurance companies do that as well.
Yeah,
Like,
they do.
okay, you can extend it so that you're not in that situation where you're going to be and you're going to be overdrawn, or it's going to cause you, to have to, rob Peter
I
to
do
pay
that with
Paul.
Geico. I do that with Geico all the time. It's not a problem. It's just I use that as a way to get it to the date that I want it to be on. You can actually
Mhm.
call your insurance and get the exact date, but say that, and sometimes when you do that, you got to pay a little extra money for that offset, you know. But if you want to avoid that, then you could just use their extended time. Like Geico offers 10 days past the due date. Mm-hmm. So if you rather, say if you're on the 20th and then you really wanted your due date to be at the end of the month, then you could use that extended due date to be able to get there. But just know that not paying on time is not what you want to do. That's the main thing.
Right, exactly. And then kind of just lastly, like, and we hit on it earlier, but credit is not cash, right? So you have to really understand what's an acceptable amount of debt for you in your life, right? So you really want to measure like your debt to income ratio and really understand how much debt am I carrying versus how much money I have after I pay taxes, right? So not that gross, right? We need to do that net, right? And so is it acceptable for you and your lifestyle, your family, and to carry 25%? Maybe it's 20%, maybe it's 15%, but you want to really understand what that math looks like so that you don't just wake up one day where you are in a situation where you're upside down, you know?
Yeah, because they have a rule. I think it's 25. Lenders look at what is 25% of your income, right? And that's the after-tax income.
Right.
Is acceptable for debt. So for your debt to income ratio. But realistically, if you really want to get higher approvals, you want to be at about 15%. You know, and that includes your car loan and things like that. So these are things that you got to factor. And we just got to be grown up about it. I know we're all, you know, over 18, but when I say, you know, we have to be grown up about it, is because we, you know, when we were younger, you know, we were irresponsible. Some people are irresponsible now. But you just need to change. Because in order for you to have good credit, you got to have good behavior and good habits. And that's all it comes down to. And in the moment that you do that, just spend 1 year doing it, and you'll see how much of a huge change it will make in your credit. Then that will translate into your life, because the things that you're able to do that you couldn't do before.
Exactly. Now that's a great point, because that's what I was going to say. You just got to be patient and disciplined, and that patience and diligence is going to equate into you seeing that your credit score is going to be improved over time.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a waiting game. Please, guys, avoid anybody that's trying to tell you that they could wipe everything clean and get you going immediately. Trust me, we're going to make a video about that, and you'll see that coming soon. But there's a lot of red flags with that, and
thousands of dollars potentially wasted, you know. And then it doesn't change the core of why it happened in the first place. Correct. Right? So you can wipe away, you know, this immediate situation, but you can't wipe away the fact that you haven't really, you know, designed your life in a fashion where you're not going to spend more than what you have coming in. And so we have to, you got to take a time out and really look at that and just say, hey, and then sometimes I know that can be difficult, right? To see, you know, yourself in that position, but it doesn't go away just because you decide to ignore it. You know, it just doesn't. It's either growing over an interest that somebody is charging you, or somebody's suing you, or it's being reported that, hey, this person is not that trustworthy. So, you know, and so now everyone who decides to pull your report, or you allow to pull a report, is seeing these decisions. So just simply wiping it away doesn't change that core behavior. And that's really what we're after. Let's change some behaviors.
Yeah. And just to let you guys know, if this is something you know, people should be able to do on their own, but sometimes people don't feel comfortable. It's just like, you probably could do your own taxes, but sometimes you don't feel comfortable. You rather have a professional or somebody that knows what they're doing to do it for you, because they've seen so many things, more things that you see, right?
Right.
So if you need help, and there's a couple ways you could check us out at the address below, which is creditbill.net, and we can give you a do-it-yourself kit that gives you all the ways to help you fix your credit, or you could do a free consultation with us. We'll do a free credit audit, and at the end, we'll let you know what we see, and you could decide whether if you need our help or not. If you do, we'll help you. If not, no problem. At least we'll let you know where you're at. So you should take advantage of that, and that's a real cool thing to do is get that free credit audit.
Yeah, and you're in a safe space. So if you've been rocking with the Ballers Club any amount of time, you know that this is safe space here with us. So we didn't live life enough. We've seen different things and we've lived different things to know that, with no judgment zone, super safe space for you. So we would love to have you. And now that you have that blueprint for your personal credit, you want to check out this next video that we're going to do on how you can get started on your business credit. And as always, we really, really, really want to let you guys know that we thank you, we appreciate you, and we want you to subscribe, we want you to share, and we want you to like this video. Am I right, Rio?
Yeah, it's time. Go ahead and like and subscribe right now. For real.
Do it. Till next time, guys, keep balling.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning